How are you? Good. Where to find things? I'm just getting myself kidding. All right, I have the message that we are live, and welcome everyone to the Boyle County Fiscal Court March 10th, 2026 meeting. I'll call this meeting to order. We have Magistrate Jason Cullen, who is on video teleconference with us this morning, and so he is allowed to vote because that has been advertised as well. So, first of all, if you have a phone, please silence it, vibrate, turn it off, whatever. And mine will be the one to ring, so just know that. Because I'm not sure that mine is, and I'm not sure that I know how to turn it down. That's the problem. All right. Magistrate Gay, will you open us with the invocation this morning?
I will. My wife Ricky and I just had the privilege of visiting Ephesus, and it was quite an amazing experience. And then coming home to a tragic death and loss of a young man that impacted a lot of people's lives in this community. I've been struggling with the word, so I decided to go to Ephesians. And so here's Paul's prayer for spiritual strength from Ephesians 3:14.
Thank you.
For this reason, I bow my knees before the Father, from whom every family in heaven and on earth is named, that according to the riches of his glory, he may grant you to be strengthened with power through his Spirit in your inner being, so that Christ may dwell in your hearts through faith, that you, being rooted and grounded in love, may have strength to comprehend with all the saints what is the breadth, the length, and the height, and depth, and to know the love of Christ that surpasses knowledge, that you may be filled with all the fullness of God. Now to him who is able to do far more abundantly than all that we ask or think, according to the power at work within us, to him be glory in the church and in Christ Jesus throughout all generations, forever and ever. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you. All right, at this time, we have a special guest that's going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. We have Reagan Shell, who is the son of Jonathan and Samantha Shell. So, Reagan, if you'll come up, and we'll follow your lead.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, and Reagan, we have a certificate for you. All right. So if we'll turn around here and we'll face Mr. Tina.
Okay.
And thank you so much for coming today. Now here's your options. You can stay and be entertained, or you can go to school and learn something.
I think I'll go to
Good idea.
Would it be okay if I get a picture?
Sure, yeah, come on back up here.
He's been very nervous about this.
Oh, you did
great.
awesome.
Good job.
He dropped his
Great job. Yes, and thank you for coming. Moral support.
Good job, Bennett.
Good job,
That was sweet.
This is being
Okay, approve our prior meeting minutes. We have two. We have February the 24th regular meeting. We can approve them separately. Is there a motion to approve February 24th?
I make the motion we approve.
Magistrate Gay, is there a second?
Second.
Magistrate Bodner, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Okay, and then we have our special called meeting on February the 27th. We can get a motion to approve.
So moved.
Magistrate Sleeper, is there a second?
Second.
Magistrate Harmon, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Budget transfers, Ms. Shannon.
I've got budget transfers in the amount of $78,994.58.
Okay, is there a motion to approve budget transfers?
So moved.
Magistrate Ellis, is there a second?
Second.
Magistrate Sleeper, any discussion on the budget transfers? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carried. Cash transfers?
I have cash transfers from occupational tax to the general fund of $2,049,701.88. From the general fund to the road fund, $50,000. From general to the jail, $150,000. From the general fund to EMS, $150,000. And from the general fund to the fleet, $10,000.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the cash transfers?
So moved.
Magistrate Gay, is there a second?
Second.
Magistrate Harmon?
Tie goes to Barry.
Okay, Magistrate Harmon. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. Transfers, all transfers are approved. Thank you. All right, and then we will approve our bills. Miss Elena?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
All right, you will see in the packet today that your original bill total was $3,585,969.12. I do need to add 4 things. 2 of those are AT&T bills. They're for our internet lines that are coming in. One is $160, one is $130. I need to add a Tri-K bill, and that was for animal control's animal disposal. That was $72.49. And then I need to add a Parsons bill, which is paying for part of the bike park. And that is $9,117.50. That will bring your grand total to $3,595,449.11.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the bills?
Make that motion. And I would like to add that $2.5 million of that is the transfer of net profits that goes
Yes.
to Danville. So when the bill list gets to be that big, I like to make that clarification that we're just passing that money.
And there is $100,000 that is also going to the Constitution Square Endowment Fund, so that's going to be invested as well.
Okay. All right, and is there a second? Magistrate Bodner? Any other discussion on the bills? I think Jason's still with us, I'm not sure. There he is. All right. There we go. All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Thank you, ma'am.
Can I add one more thing?
You sure can.
All right, if you all don't mind, I need a motion. We need to purchase something called a cargo glide. It's a slide-out bed for our fleet maintenance Tommy. He right now has a generator and an air compressor that he travels around with in his vehicle for emergencies. When he starts that generator, it is pressed against the cab of his truck, which causes carbon monoxide to fill the cab of his truck. So for safety issues, it is $3,500. If you all can make a motion that we can order and pay on delivery.
Okay, have a motion by Magistrate Ellis, a second by Magistrate Bodner. Any discussion?
For Jason's knowledge, this was quite a discussion yesterday because we all of a sudden realized the danger that Tommy would be in with this, with carbon monoxide buildup. He could be alone in his shop and no one would know. So I'm so pleased that he brought it up to us because it was an urgent thing that we decided yesterday in our budget conference that we would make this motion and get it through today.
Yeah, Tommy and I actually talked about that at the ambulance blessing when he had his truck in there. We looked at it and he showed it to me back then. So yeah, I'm aware of that.
Great.
Thank you though.
Okay. All right, any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, we have an item in old business, our IT Director, Bill Nichols, and guest.
A couple, 3 weeks ago, you agreed to let the Kentucky National Guard Cyber Resiliency Team come in and check our systems. Well, they're here to tell you all about it. I have Lieutenant Colonel Dana Sanders and Staff Sergeant Billy Penley. to give you that report, and if you have any questions with him, do so at the end.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Director. Thank you for the introduction. My name is Lieutenant Colonel Dana Sanders. I'm the Cyber Program Manager for the Kentucky National Guard. I'm also the Deputy Chief Information Officer for the Kentucky Army National Guard. Just before I start the briefing, we should have some slides, I think, that the Director has provided to you. But when I first came to the Kentucky National Guard in 2012...
We don't have the slides, but that's okay.
They do on their iPads.
On their iPads.
But we didn't see it. I couldn't.
It's number 7, and it's out briefing.
We found the original email, but I didn't ever find
It's
it.
not in the email, it's in the, where you would find all your documents for the fiscal court meeting.
Oh, okay. Okay, you meant. Okay, gotcha.
Anyways, in 2012, when I first came to the Kentucky National Guard from the Minnesota National Guard, I picked up the phone. I was actually deployed in Iraq and Kuwait, and I picked up the phone and I was like, I wanted to move to Kentucky because my husband was stationed at Fort Knox. And I picked up the phone and I just, at the time, I don't know, whatever the equivalent of Google was, I Googled, Armory, Kentucky, and the first number that came up was to the Armory here in Danville. And the person that answered the phone, his name was, he's retired now, but his name was Brian Mattingly, and he said, well, I got a spot for you. So he brought me into the Kentucky National Guard, and I came straight to the Danville Armory in Alpha Company 103rd, and that was in 2012. I'm currently the battalion commander for the 103rd. I'm also a logistician because there's not a whole lot of promotability in cyber within the National Guard, so I get promotions through logistics. But I started my National Guard career in Kentucky in Danville and in the 103rd, and I'm still in the 103rd with part of my legacy here in Danville. So I just wanted to share the connection. I don't make it this way very often. I live in Frankfurt, so just in front of you, well, I guess hopefully in front of you, you should have these slides. The slides provide a really top-level overview of everything that our team did for you. So there's an agenda, which is everything I'll talk about. So I'll try to frame what our team does, what we agreed to do here in Boyle County and what we do for other counties, some of the other missions that we do, and then I'll talk about some of the findings and make some recommendations to you all so that you can come out of this with some actionable items. And then obviously just some follow-on recommendations. So the Kentucky Cyber Resilience Initiative was formed in early 2024 when General Lamberton came to me and said, hey, he wants to do a cyber exercise in Kentucky. And I was like, well, why are we doing this cyber exercise? And what we came up with was because we found that there was a gap of capability, especially at the county level. A lot of counties don't have dedicated. You are fortunate you have more assets than many of the other counties, but they don't really have a very large IT presence. And so to afford an assessment or an incident response, if your insurance doesn't cover it, is something that you may not be able to do because in the civilian market, an assessment on a single, say one of your offices may cost upwards of $5,000. And so we really felt that we could do a lot by providing assessment services to the counties at no cost to you. So, over time, we're only in year 2 here, so we're hoping that that'll enable us, to reduce risk to the Commonwealth, especially at the county level. And considering the interconnectedness and the threats to our networks and our information, we felt that there was value add that we could provide. So we appreciate you all supporting that, and especially if you're all new to the second county that we've done. And we came in, we did everything for you. So we're very grateful for that opportunity and appreciate any recommendations you have moving forward. But in addition to that, we call that domestic operations. So we also do incident response assessment training. We can come in and help with any type of cybersecurity baseline training, anything you need for your folks. We also do community outreach, so we go around to K through 12. We work with academic universities, and we go out and we network with them to help promote, to help bolster their programs and just to create trust with those entities at different levels, and not just government. So we really work with critical infrastructure partners, academic, and civilian industry partners as well. And then we also have our federal mission. So we're National Guard by nature of being National Guard. We can always get called away to do something somewhere else. Hopefully not, considering everything that's going on, hopefully not anytime soon.
Lieutenant Colonel, before we go further and I lose my thought, we have two associations, Kentucky Association of Counties and Kentucky Magistrates, well, three in county, the Judges Association and Magistrates Statewide Association. With what you've already impressed me with, we should try to get you, not to 120 counties, but to a virtual meeting with what you're about to share with us. So if after your presentation you want to talk, I'll give you my card and we can talk about the possibility of you being in a virtual meeting to where any and all of the counties could get what we're about to enjoy.
Yes, sir, we'd appreciate that very much. Thank you. So the purpose of the assessment was to come in and provide a baseline assessment of all of your internet connected devices. And so what that does is provides you an understanding of what risk or what attack surface you all have exposed. So where you all can better invest in your infrastructure and in your IT networks so that to reduce the likelihood of a cyber attack on any portion of your network. So that's really the end state for this. So we want to both identify strengths and areas for improvement so that you're able to make your own prioritization. So we're not here to tell you exactly what order, but just kind of give you a list of the things that we recommend you doing. And then obviously support any future initiatives that you might have for bolstering resilience within your county. So we're, it's not just we walk away today and then come back maybe in a year or so. Like, we are here in the interim as well, and we'll talk about some of the things that we can do in the interim to help you all do that. Just as a note, we do use, there is a national standard, they're called the CIS, or the Center for Internet Security Baseline Controls. So it's publicly available for any one of you. Like, if you have an IT team, like your MSP or your service providers can also use these same tools to continue on that baseline. So they're not exclusive to us. And then we want to help you, we want to assist in the long-term planning process for you, so provide that horizon. The scope of our engagement, we initially received the request in November. And then between November and January, obviously we had a holiday period in there, but we sign a non-disclosure agreement. So that means any of the vulnerabilities that we find, the specifics of those vulnerabilities will not be disclosed to any other entity outside of the county. We also signed a memorandum of understanding. What that just says is, hey, we will do these things and we won't go outside of our box. So we did that. We also agreed to which areas we would look at within the county. So from my understanding is we did a pretty comprehensive look here within Boyle County. So we'll each one of those technical areas that we looked at, the team will provide them individualized outbreaks, so you'll get an opportunity to ask very specific and technical questions. So your service provider will have the opportunity to really go in depth with our team, and so it's not just going to be left here. So I won't provide you that level of specifics just because it's publicly broadcast isn't probably a bad idea, but that information will become available to your teams. So why we do the assessment, I think at the county level you are faced with a paradox, right? So do you invest into your IT networks, or do you provide a critical service, or in this case was a sliding flatbed for your emergency responders. I think that you have choices to make, and I think you have to be provided that information. And I think you also have sensitive data to protect here, right? You manage social security numbers and addresses and PII, and I think that so you have, do we protect this? Do we provide this? And sort of this you're stuck in the middle. So having an idea of where you could invest and on a timeline is something that would be helpful to you all, moving forward. So that's why we do it, and why we think it really matters, is we understand that paradox. I think that also you want to make it clear to your community that you do care about their data and information, that you're doing something about it. So in a way, doing an assessment actually helps you enhance the trust or the relationship between you and your community members when they understand that you are doing something to protect your data and them. So we get into the results. So the assessment identified strong leadership engagement and willingness to improve. I think the fact that you all agreed to do a comprehensive look is an indication of that. We did have a little bit, anytime we work with a service provider, it becomes a little bit difficult. I think that there's this underlying sentiment or fear from the service provider that we're going to come in and tell you all the things that they're not doing. I think you all understand that they're a small company themselves, and a lot of times don't have the same resources, or maybe not being, what are they being paid for versus what they're providing. I think there's a balance there. So we try to really ease those tensions, but it wasn't certainly on behalf of the leadership team here. Some of the findings that we discovered were, and this is not unique, I want to say not unique to Boyle County, lack of standardized configurations and policies, right? So across each county office, you'd have different configurations, different devices, different technologies, and different policies being used for that. So I think, moving forward, and you'll see this on the next slide, is, a recommendation to try to work towards a standardization, and that helps you facilitate control and reduce risk to your network. Outdated systems and hardware and software. So one easy thing, and one thing that the adversaries and criminals take advantage of is outdated software. So each router or switch, it gets to a point in its life cycle, just like your cell phone or your computers, where you can no longer maintain it. And so and typically that period is 5 to 7 years. And so after 5 to 7 years, the device, the actual manufacturer will stop publishing updates for it. And so it just over time becomes more and more vulnerable. And so we did find a number of outdated systems, not just unpatched, but legacy systems that need to be replaced. Across the network, what we found is, I'll say that you do a better job of segmenting. So you have a guest network and then you have a business network. But the business network, if you have the password, anyone can get in. And I think that's something that you have mechanisms, you already have mechanisms that you pay for, where you can create usernames and user-specific passwords to ensure that each user is authorized to be on the network. So instead of finding things like personal iPhones and personal tablets on your network, we wouldn't find any of that because they wouldn't be able to authenticate to the network. So that would help reduce reduce the number of unauthorized systems on the network. And even though we're mostly, you're all trusted agents here, you don't know what vulnerabilities their personal devices introduce to your network, and so it's something outside of your control, and a risk that you're inadvertently accepting by having that username and password, or not having a username and password out there. Some of your web-facing services and websites, they had unnecessary open ports and protocols, meaning that traffic that shouldn't necessarily be there could communicate with the devices on the backside. And so I think just working with your service provider to ensure that those are restricted to the absolute necessary, and then also being secured themselves. So any unsecure website, so when you go to websites, the little lock in the corner is HTTPS is what that's called, so not running any HTTP protocols. So that ensures that you have a higher level of encryption standards on your web services. And then just by nature of the openness of your network, it was hard for us to determine what was supposed to be there versus what's not supposed to be there. So getting a codified hardware and software inventory list becomes next to impossible when you have an open network. So our immediate recommendations were to leverage domain authentication, work with your service providers to enforce that username and password, and lock down your physical ports in your rooms and offices. Once you do that, then you're able to document what is supposed to be there. in terms of hardware and software, and then start patching those devices and upgrading your end of life and those things that need your legacy platforms based on. I would say the closer that the device is to the internet, so that would be the ones that you should replace first. So like your routers and switches would be the first things that you would replace, and then kind of work your way back to your endpoints. And then limit any externally exposed services. So don't, like if you have, I know that there is a law requirements that you have to have certain documents and things available to the public, just making sure that those things are sanitized before they are hung out there. So in the background, each one of those documents contains a thing called metadata, and the metadata can be tied back to account information and network information. So just making sure, and Adobe has a tool that's ingrained into the tool itself that you can sanitize that data.
I'm easily confused because if it's open records and you say we could sanitize it,
so like the way that it works is like if you're looking at like a picture on the screen here, like on the back is a bunch of ones and zeros that are making that image appear. The data is actually in the ones and the zeros. It's hidden within that data.
so there's no manipulation of what it says, because that open record, as the judge will tell you, is something that has to be
On
pure
it.
in the way it happened.
No, sir. On its surface, it will always stay the same. But a threat actor could get into the back end of that document and then like just access that data and then get information about your network or your users or your employees leveraging that data.
Kind of like when a bank or something gets hacked and that data then goes out to places it's not supposed to go.
We don't want that happening.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Long-term recommendations, I think, having a baseline across all of your offices would be helpful and would reduce risk significantly. Creating a long-term plan for life cycle management. So if you replace something, the next time you replace something, you can kind of put it in a note or in a spreadsheet somewhere. It says in 5 to 7 years we have to replace it again, so we can plan for that across the horizon. And then you've already done this, so we've already scheduled a follow-up in January of next year. So we will be back to do this again, and we'll give you as an updated standard to see how far you've come. And with that, we just recommend, so like the next steps we would recommend to the fiscal court would be to prioritize those immediate actions based on your resources, establish those timelines, and then just to continue the coordination and relationships that we have right now. And then one thing I wanted to say was there are some other federal funding has been very interesting in the last year, but there are some grants available to the counties and to the state and local government. So like I think it's called the State and Local Cybersecurity Grants Program. So that is available. It's now centrally managed out of Kentucky Office of Homeland Security. And then there is another program called Innovative Readiness Training, which is it's a way for you to access additional National Guard resources without having to pay for it or having the state pay for it. The federal government would pay for that. And I have provided all of those resources to you all. So hopefully we'll be able to maybe make some headway there and you can get some additional resources. So our partnership, I don't think I really need to talk much about that, but I think we'll continue to provide technical guidance. If you run into any issues or your service provider runs into any issues, we're here. They can call us at any time. You can call us at any time. Like we certainly can provide over the phone. You guys are not too far down the road, so we can drive down here as needed. We can assist you with any planning efforts, so if you need recommendations for that horizon or which hardware you should go with moving forward, we can also provide that technical assistance. And then we can continue to provide training and workshops. We do this with Kentucky Office of Homeland Security and CISA. Like we do tabletop exercises. We can come in and we can do combined like emergency management type stuff. And then obviously whatever else you feel that we could do to help strengthen your long-term cyber readiness. And so if you need templates for policies or procedures, we can provide you all that as well. In summary, I just want to say that I think the first step is that you all, taking this step and are being proactive about your cyber resilience. I think that this is indicative that we have a partnership and we'll continue that partnership. And I think it sends a message to the community And I think that whatever we can do to help you to do those immediate recommended actions, we're here to help facilitate that. Even if it comes down to helping you install and configure that hardware, we could probably do that. We remain committed to you and your communities and the communities of the Commonwealth. And I think that, I'm just really grateful for the opportunity to be here, and I just want to say thank you again for taking this step forward. Is there any questions?
I have one on like, do you have recommendations as far as like vendor management? Because we have more and more entities, I guess, that we interface with, and I'm sure there'll be more as we move forward, in tax admin and HR in particular, and Bill might be able to address others, that how we make sure we're appropriately evaluating any vulnerabilities they may have as they're interfacing with our system, and make sure we're doing proper vendor management checks.
I've worked with the Department of Defense, Department of War for a very long time doing this exact same thing. There are standards and baselines for almost everything. And these vendors, especially if they're handling any level of PII, should have those federal standards in place, because that's what's going to protect them. So I think ensuring that when you write a contract, or when you make, I don't know whatever the equivalent is, I'm sure it's a contract with that vendor at your level, that those standards are written into service level agreements that ensure the enforceability of them when you do discover that something is wrong. And then conducting periodic penetration testing, or working with another, not that company itself, work with a different company to do that. We even do those services to a certain degree, just to make sure that that it's not vulnerable or something is wrong. And sometimes the vendor might not even know about it. And so I think that do a combination of those three things will help better protect your investments moving forward, and just being very wary that everybody's selling something, and almost anyone can go out to Amazon Web Services and stand up their own server and create these things. So they're really vetting your vendors, and going with a trusted vendor is very important.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, well,
Thanks for
thank you
coming.
so much, yes, for being here today and giving us the report, and it's not as bad as I expected.
And you all should have a copy of this.
Wow,
as
Bill.
well.
Wow,
I'm
Bill.
just kidding, Bill, I'm just kidding. I thought we would pass with flying colors.
Jim, you're on camera, yes, sir.
If you can hang around a minute,
Yes, ma'am.
Thank
our
you.
Volunteers of America have a PowerPoint. I may need you to help with that.
Okay.
Okay. So next is our National Nutrition Month proclamation for the month of March. And Ben was going to try to be here today, but I'm sure something has come up, and or he would be here. But we'll go ahead and read it. I wanted to present it to Ben Guerrant with the Gathering Place, because so many people in our county depend on a nutritious meal that comes from the Gathering Place, from those Meals on Wheels. And so I thought no better opportunity than to have Ben come and receive this proclamation. But we'll make sure he gets it. Whereas proper nutrition is fundamental to the health, well-being, and quality of life of citizens of all ages, and whereas balanced eating habits and regular physical activity significantly reduce the risk of chronic diseases, including heart disease, diabetes, obesity, and certain cancers. And whereas National Nutrition Month, established by the Academy of Nutrition and is observed annually in March to promote informed food choices and the development of sound eating and physical activity habits. And whereas registered dietitians, nutrition professionals, healthcare providers, educators, and community partners play a critical role in improving public health through evidence-based nutrition education and outreach. And whereas increasing nutrition awareness and access to wholesome foods strengthens families, enhances workforce productivity, and supports the long-term vitality of the community. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Trilly L. Bottom, Boyle County Judge Executive, and the Boyle County Fiscal Court do hereby proclaim March 2026 as National Nutrition Month, and affirm our support for efforts that encourage healthy eating, physical activity, and improved nutritional well-being for all citizens of Boyle County, this 10th day of March 2026. Can I get a motion to approve the proclamation? Magistrate Sleeper, second by Magistrate Bodner. Any discussion?
Yeah, go ahead.
Excuse me. I used to have a nutrition month, and I would go to all the little classes and talk to them about healthy eating. So
Yeah,
I'm
that's great.
glad to hear that.
You've been doing that a long time.
Long time.
Promoting healthy eating
Long time.
and physical activity. Anything else?
Judge, I'm recalling, and this is in the context of making sure that when we invest taxpayer dollars, we do it in a very judicious way. Ben was here probably 2 years ago, guys, and they were updating their kitchen facility.
Yeah.
Shannon, you might be able to help me out if you recall a number, but we invested significant dollars on behalf of this type of nutrition program so that folks in need in this county would have it available, and that is now up
It was
and
about
running.
56,000, Tom.
Thank you.
And
Thank
it
you.
was going to be prepared on here in Boyle County. That was a biggie too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
All right. Well, all those in favor of the proclamation motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carried. All right. Thank you all for that. Next up, we have the Volunteers of America, and we have Family Court Judge Bruce Petrie with us this morning. Thank you for being present. And I will let you all come up and introduce yourselves and have your spiel.
I don't know how to hook it up. Are you gonna help me?
Bill can help.
Please.
Let's see here. We don't have a way to do that. Let's
I'm a little bit technologically challenged.
Me too. Just ask the judge. That judge.
If Bill can't do it, Tom Ellis can do it.
Oh, absolutely. Gray-haired wisdom on technology. While we're waiting, who are you folks and where?
Yeah, go ahead
where
and
are you
introduce
Okay,
based?
we'll go ahead
yeah.
and get started. I have a packet for each of you. Good
Okay.
morning, everyone, and I want to thank you for allowing us to come today to present to you. My name is Jennifer Hancock, and I'm the President and CEO of Volunteers of America Mid-States.
Hi, I'm Megan Main. I'm the Director of Rural Addiction Recovery Services for Volunteers of America.
And I think you know this gentleman who's with us today. We're here to tell you
And where
about...
are you based?
Pardon me, sir?
Where are you based?
We are headquartered in Jefferson County, and we're responsible for serving the entire Commonwealth.
Thank you.
So we are a faith-based nonprofit organization that's been around. In fact, we're celebrating right now our 130-year anniversary of serving our nation and serving Kentucky. We have 7 divisions inside of our organization. We do everything from address homeless and housing needs throughout the Commonwealth. We serve veterans who return home and need a variety of supports as they're getting reacclimated. Everything from housing support to suicide prevention for our veteran community. We serve youth who sometimes commit crimes or behave inappropriately in schools by providing restorative justice solutions where they're held accountable by facing the individuals they've harmed and they make direct amends. We take care of individuals who are disabled and provide an alternative to institutionalization by helping them be cared for in their own homes. And we provide public health services throughout the Commonwealth and provide community health workers. In addition to that, and why we're here this morning, is because we provide evidence-based services for families affected by substance use disorder. And throughout the Commonwealth, we have a variety of ways that we help communities address addiction through direct treatment. We have a unique program that takes care of pregnant mamas and their babies by allowing the entire family to come into treatment. That's called Freedom House. We're actually in the midst of building a Freedom House in Lincoln County that will serve this region. So that will be something to come soon. We have that program already in Jefferson County and Clay County. and we're making it more regionally accessible. But it's not just direct treatment. For those of us who have family members who have experienced addiction, you know that there is life after treatment to help rebuild and repair. And so we do that by providing workforce reentry solutions, housing opportunities, and a program that we're here to tell you about specifically today is Family Recovery Court. Are we doing okay
How are we
over here?
doing?
Because I'm just rolling with it. I'm thinking about all of our slides, and hopefully I'm staying in order. I'm coming for you soon to talk about Family Recovery Court. This is a program that was first started in Jefferson County. It is a new way of thinking about the traditional drug court program, okay? And we have a slide that will distinguish drug court from Family Recovery Court. Family Recovery Court was proven to be so successful in Jefferson County in two ways. One, helping families stay together. That's always our goal at VOA. If we can keep a family together and preserve that family unit, we try to do that as much as possible when it's safe to do so. And so we proved in Jefferson that this was a program that kept families together and kids out of foster care, and it also yielded really positive results for the participants to stay in long-term recovery, to get employment, to get stable housing. And we know that because there was an evaluator, a third-party evaluator who measured the results and saw the positive impact. So VOA took this model 5 years ago to Clay County and had a judge there, like Judge Petrie, who said, I want to do this type of court because I am tired of seeing the next generation and the next generation come into my courtroom. I'm now seeing kids who were born to the mommies and daddies that were once the kids in my courtroom. And so I want to disrupt this cycle of addiction, and I'll try anything. So we started in Clay County in 2021. And since then, we have been able, through the positive impact we've had, to spread this in 13 other courts throughout the Commonwealth. The funding is a mix of local funding, state funding, and federal funding. And so each court is funded a little uniquely different based on the mix of funding available. But in general, I'll tell you that we never come to a single source for all of the funding. We recognize why that's not a sustainable model. So we really try to diversify the funding to ensure long-term sustainability. The evaluator is from the University of Louisville. And so they're deeply embedded in the day-to-day of this program, measuring the success of us graduating families. Like I said, long-term recovery is our goal, and avoiding those foster care costs, as well as the upheaval of foster care. We know that that in and of itself is traumatic for children to be removed and placed in a separate setting, sometimes counties away. And we know that that's not in the best interest of that family if we can preserve them and keep them together. I'm going to turn it over to the real expert here who gets to do this work with families and her team each and every day. It's really Megan's leadership that has enabled us to grow this model, as well as from judges who raise their hand and say, I want to do this, I want to be part of this. This is a purely voluntary program. It's not forced or mandated on anyone, including judges. And so Judge Petrie is a great example of someone who's heard about the success of this program and who has asked if he could participate in it. So Megan, do you want to talk a little bit about how the program's designed and why it's been so successful?
Sure. Yeah, so as Jennifer mentioned, it is a voluntary program, and it is for parents who have an open CPS case where there has been abuse or neglect has been substantiated and substance use is a factor. So they have an open case with Judge Petrie or someone in the family court system. So it is a 3-phase program. Typically it can last between 9 and 18 months. So these participants are with us for a long time. And each phase of the program is sort of meant to address a specific issue, right? So when we get the clients as part of the Family Recovery Court, they may still be in active addiction. So the first thing that we're going to do is bring them in. Volunteers of America provides a therapist who will assess and make recommendations for treatment. So that may be residential treatment services, or they may be able to do something like an intensive outpatient program and stay at home. And so that sobriety piece is really the main focus in that first phase, that treatment piece. And then the second phase of the program, participants go through a clinical parenting, it's called Parenting Through Recovery. It's a clinical parenting group that is designed for parents to sort of recognize the trauma that was caused to their children through their substance use, and also to encourage accountability, right, for the parents' own actions. Clients are very hesitant when they hear about that group, but they come out on the other end saying that was impactful, right? Like maybe they didn't recognize the effects that their substance use had on their children and usually the entire family. We also have a case manager as part of our family recovery court team, and so they are working with the clients throughout the program, throughout the phases, on things like sober and stable housing, employment, if the client's interested in maybe returning to school to continue their education. But that is really the focus of phase 3, because we're preparing them to leave us, right? And so they may not have the increased support that they've had surrounding them, and we want them to be successful long term. So they're really focusing on life skills things. Again, that housing piece, employment. We want them to have some sort of stable income before they leave us, because we don't want to just, we don't want them to be successful while they're in the program. We don't want to see them again, right? Like that is ultimately the goal. So,
I think he's got a question for you.
Absolutely, please, ma'am.
wrong. Yeah. There we go. Don't look at my desktop. I get in trouble. Every time IT gets on my computer, I get in trouble. You have an awful lot on
Y'all
this
close your ears
desktop.
like that.
I am not your IT.
He's not judging.
I'm not judging.
So while we have participants in the program with us, there are certain requirements throughout each phase. We're doing drug screening. We ask them to get a sponsor. That is a requirement to move through the phases. They have to attend a certain number of AA or NA or Celebrate Recovery meetings. They're meeting with our therapist and the case manager. And we have contact with these clients daily, at least via phone. So they're calling in every morning by 10 a.m. To find out if they have to drug screen that day. Drug screens are random. And so they're also checking in with the case manager, right? So if there's any issues or anything has come up, they can say, hey, I need some help. So they have that daily contact. And for that reason, we have found if the children have been removed when they come to us, that we see those faster reunification rates. DCBS is more comfortable maybe placing those children back in the home because we do have that increased contact. We partner with DCBS in this program, and so we're talking to them constantly. We have weekly established meetings, but again, if at any point that client comes into our office and we're concerned about something, we're calling that DCBS worker immediately, right? So it kind of helps to, we know our DCBS folks are super busy, and we like to kind of take some of the load off of them if we can. I think those are all the high points of the program.
Okay.
Do you?
Sure, I'll be happy to say a couple things. So, first of all, thank you all for having the Volunteers of America here today. Mary, you were singing to me earlier. Every time I hear that phrase, I want to start singing that song. But in any event, I want to say, first of all, that I heard somebody say something about generational impact. In the last 5 years, so that I don't identify anybody, I had a family where Since I've been practicing law, this is now the 4th generation that came through the juvenile courts. And there was a termination of parental rights, and those kids are doing great, but I remember that family quite well when I started practicing law here in 1991. And it's been substance abuse issues. I tell people all the time, when you're a family court judge and you're doing especially juvenile dependence and neglect and abuse work, that about 90% of the cases have a component of substance abuse, and that's because the other 10% haven't been fully candid with the court. In other words, it seems as if there's almost always a substance abuse component in these cases. And so, courts don't have to think about the money. You all have to think about the money, and I fully understand that. But I also want to say that it's hard for me to understand how there would be something that we could do more to affect our community than try to work on these issues. It's been something I've been wanting to do for a long time, is to have a family drug court. Actually, I wanted to do a drug court and district court, and then I became a family court judge a couple years into that. And then family drug court, we lost the funding for it statewide pretty early on. And so we do have drug courts now pretty much throughout the Commonwealth, but those are in the criminal context. And that's one of the things that they're going to show you all is the difference, okay? My cases are not criminal cases. My cases are cases, the ones we're talking about here, are cases where a child has been dependent, neglected, or abused. Dependent is just a child that is under improper care for whatever reason, the most common of which is that mom and dad go to jail. And so as a result, when mom and dad are in jail, we all know that they're presumed innocent at that point, but somebody still has to take care of the child. So it's a real impactful program. I have spoken to other judges throughout the Commonwealth next door to us. They're doing it. Judge Vanover and Judge Vanners over there in Lincoln Rockcastle and Pulaski have gotten a court started. Judge Brent Hall down in E-Town was one of my mentee judges, and he's got one. I was like, wow, is it my mentee judge has a family recovery court, and I don't have one in it, and there's Judge Hall right there. So I'm going to call him today and say, listen, I mentioned your name. So, but I do want you all to seriously consider what you can do to help. And like I said, I have no idea what there is, what resources are there, but I certainly want to apply my time to it. I will say to you all this. Having been on the bench now for my 27th year, I've been doing family court judge for my 25th year. This is the best opportunity we have to try to do something like this that we've ever had in my experience since I've been on the bench. And I really hope we can take a swing at this thing in our circuit.
Now, in Mercer County considering this as well?
Absolutely. In fact, we're
on our
headed
way
that
there
way
next.
as soon as we leave here.
Okay, okay.
But I do want to take this opportunity to say thank you all for hearing from us today.
All right.
Happy
Thank
to
you.
take any of your questions. I will tell you that this is an approved program for opioid settlement dollars. I know that you have to discern what's eligible and not eligible in terms of spending those important settlement dollars. This is already approved in that process, and we've worked with CAECO and other counties to ensure that it meets all of the criteria, and you can see the counties where we're currently serving.
So is there an amount that you would ask for?
So
or?
this program typically requires about $250,000 a year. And that's because we pay for staff salaries and benefits that are actually doing the direct service. In addition to that, we have some financial assistant dollars for families that we're serving to address their barriers. And so based on the availability of local funds, that will determine how much we have to pursue state funding. We are in the process, as you know, of a budget session in Frankfurt, and we are pursuing new state funding to support the expansion of Family Recovery Court. Now, not sure at this point in time how much of those dollars we will get. We'll know in the next few weeks as the Senate contemplates their budget. We're all doing a lot of advocacy to express the importance of the Family Recovery Court model in terms of the cost savings and the real return on investment for families. All of that to say, based on the local amount that you may have available, should you choose to support this request, that'll really determine how much we have to pursue state or other sources for this.
Okay.
I noticed that you're a licensed clinical social worker.
Yes, sir.
Always a professional with these kids, I guess.
Yes.
And Judge, one of the things that was kind of heart-wrenching is that child might be moved to county, 2 counties, 3 counties away.
Yes.
How hard do you work to keep that child locally so that he or she is with the kids they're in school with? The teachers know them, they know I assume, Judge, the teachers know the circumstance of a foster child?
Well, most of the time, the teachers know first, if the truth be known. That's what I've found over the years. In fact, I tell people, I'm going to put my other hat on for just a second. I always say some of the best information we can ever get in custody cases is from the teachers, because they see the kids more than anybody else. But they don't necessarily want to come to court, and I totally understand that. But the reality is, yes, I think the teachers are exposed to that. But I will say this. So when you asked that question of her, I've sensed this, which one is he asking? So in regular cases where they don't have family recovery court, the children get placed where we can find, where the cabinet typically can find a place to put them, all right? I'm a judicial branch officer. I have a certain role to play in the system, which is that I make determinations whether or not a child gets removed from the home. But if I make that decision and I place the child with the cabinet, now it's an executive branch decision as to where that child gets placed. I have no control over that. That's something that I'm glad to have an opportunity to tell everybody, because nor do they. But here's the thing. If they're in family recovery court and we're able to maintain the child in the home, we do not have to worry about that, okay, which is a big issue here. You know, I don't know if yesterday anybody had a chance to hear about the fact that Auditor Boyle just came out with a report about the number of children these days that are being housed in cabinet offices, all right? And I know that there was a lot of consternation about the cabinet in that, but here's the thing I would hope everybody would have a chance to say when they get to Frankfurt on this. The cabinet doesn't want those children there either. The reason those children are there is because there's no other place to put them, quite frankly. And that's going to be a legislative issue from Frankfurt. I don't think we necessarily have to figure that out locally. But I will say part of the thing that we can do is to try to find ways to maintain the placement inside the home, because as I tell people all the time, there's no non-traumatic decision that's typically being made in these cases, right? So the case comes into court, the child is in crisis because the family's in crisis, mom or dad is on drugs, they're using substances. So the question becomes, do I leave the child in the home and deal with the trauma there, or do I remove the child from the home and therefore there will still be trauma? In other words, there's no neutral decision there. And so one of the things that I am excited about with this program is an opportunity to try to cut down the number of out-of-home placements. That is a key portion of this program.
Now, are we looking at a piece of $250,000?
Yes, sir.
And does a staff member live here? We hire?
That's right. We always hire local staff members. This has to be driven by the community. We have a role to play as kind of, I see VOA largely as an economic engine to provide the resources to local communities and let them work from the ground up to deliver this model. I point to this particular slide because I think it answers a couple of points and questions here regarding the collaborative approach, which is very different than the typical approach. Judge just described the judicial role, the executive role, and then a legislative role. Well, here, this team works very collaboratively. Megan spoke to the fact that we have a weekly case conference where the judge is inputting into his perspective on this case and family. VOA staff participates and DCBS participates, and they jointly make decisions about the future and the next steps. And the client, him or herself, has a piece of this as well, where they're participating and inputting into the next steps. It's very collaborative.
And if I can also add, so we're addressing the whole family, right? Mm-hmm. So as Judge Petrie talked about, if this child has been removed from the home, if they have or if they haven't, but especially if they have been removed from the home, one of the requirements of this program is that the children receive therapy services also, right? And so a lot of times what's being addressed in those therapy sessions is the child preparing to go back home, because we know that they've been removed from what they know, and maybe now they're used to a new normal and they're going to be removed again, right? Mm-hmm. So that therapist is working with those children and identifying any family issues that need to be addressed prior to the children being sent back to the FRC participants.
And how complicated is it when there are 5 or 6 children in a home? Because I've got them in my district, and I'm sure everybody here does.
Absolutely. We're fully ready and capable of serving large families. And part of that assessment is to understand what are the underlying issues that is causing the disruption, in addition to substance use disorder, poverty, unsuitable housing conditions. And so really offering comprehensive solutions. That's one of the benefits that VOA having this program provides is that we do a lot of other things as well. We have linkages to housing opportunities and workforce reentry opportunities. So we want to be very holistic and comprehensive in the way that we're taking care of every member of that family.
Judge Petrie and I have discussed drug court on several different occasions, and I know how passionate he is about having a drug court established here for Boyle and Mercer County. So I am fully supportive of doing that. But it is budget season, and we would need to determine how much of our opioid funds we can participate with. So when is the deadline that you would need to know something?
There's truly no official deadline other than, I think, knowing what the state does, which we'll know in the next few weeks.
Okay.
Lining that up with your decision will allow us to know going into next fiscal year, which starts July 1. So we would like to know over the next couple of months, just so that Megan and her team can plan for getting staffed up here, finding a location, getting the judge ready. So there's a lot of logistic management.
Yeah.
He'll be ready to go on day one, I have no doubt.
He's ready to go now.
Right, exactly. And so we'll need a little bit of ramp up time.
Okay.
So the sooner we know, the better, just from a planning standpoint, but there is no finite deadline.
Okay.
Do you know what percent federal, state, local pay in other counties, you know?
Well, I show you this slide, and we're happy to leave these for you. So you can see here, Hardin County has made a pledge of $60,000 a year from their local opioid abatement funds, and we've matched that with a federal grant. We heard the Lieutenant Colonel speak earlier to the uncertainty of federal grants. I want to emphasize that again.
Yes.
Yes, and so we cannot rely on federal funding the way that we once did, even for a program as well-funded as this has been at the federal level. So I just want to highlight that. And then it's going to take all of us to advocate to Frankfort for additional state funding, because we have enjoyed Representative Meade, as an example, made a line item for the Lincoln, Pulaski, and Rockcastle County jurisdiction, which is Judges Venters and Vanover. So we have enjoyed some state funding related to that. So it's always been a mix of local, state, and federal. And you can see Clay Jackson and Leslie, they did $60,000 a year as well of their local opioid settlement funding.
So it's just a matter of us
Yes.
deciding
How much of
How much
your
and-
funding you would
yeah.
like to invest in this program. Yes.
I know as my daughter Jennifer Gaddis is has been a social worker and works, she's definitely talks about the impact of getting it before you take the child out of the home
Yes.
and,
Yes.
getting it early, and
That's right.
she's very passionate, let's just say.
Wonderful.
So I know this sounds really great,
My card is in your packets.
Yep.
It has my cell phone number on it
Okay.
as well. So feel free to text, call, email me. Megan and I will be available to answer any additional questions. And again, thank you so much for allowing us to be here to share about this part of our organization, a service that we would be proud and honored to provide here in partnership with each and every one of you, and certainly
Let me
with Judge
clarify that
Petrie.
last point you made about Speaker Pro Tem David Meade.
Yes, sir.
He's earmarked specific dollars for those counties.
Correct, yes.
Judge, we can work that.
I think so, yeah. We
And
just
he's
have to
aware of the requests that
decide.
we have in front of him and his colleagues right now to enable additional dollars to expand this court here. So hearing from you would be certainly helpful in this process.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Last thing, Judge, I'll say this. I told
Yes.
you this the other day.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that in 27 years, I've never come down here and asked for anything before. I'm asking.
I know,
Okay.
yeah.
Judge,
And
does David know you, David Meade?
No, he does not. I know Daniel Levy.
And
Yeah, but I can
Amanda
meet him.
Blazon.
I'll go to Frankfurt anytime. You say the word, I'll ride up there with you. How about that?
All right. I
Thank
think-
you all.
think
Thank
we're
you
gonna
all
do
so
that.
much.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Hate to
supporting
leave you
us for
for
our
him.
technical
Yes,
difficulties. You're
yes.
awesome,
All right,
Director.
good deal, good deal.
Thank you. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. You didn't know you were
Thank you
going to
all.
work
Thank
on
you.
that. You came down here, didn't you?
Thanks so
So
much.
much. Thank you all, thank you.
Bill, thank you for helping with that.
Yeah, no problem. Let me see if I can find Jason.
Yeah, we've lost
Way to
Jason.
forward that from there to.
I will make a PDF of this and I will stick it in your meeting packet folder for today's meeting.
Okay.
and then tell us how to get to that.
I'll show you.
With instructions.
I'll create
With
a PDF
instructions.
and I'll just email it to you.
Yes, I don't think anybody found that other meeting.
That's why you don't have to worry about us sharing the information out of it, because we can't find it anyway.
We're gonna get it back anyway. We've already done it, but we're gonna get it. All right, Ben has joined us now from the Gathering Place, and we've already read the proclamation and we've already approved it, but we want to get a picture with you, so.
Yes.
Y'all, I'm so sorry. I had in my head that it was at 10 o'clock because it was at 10 o'clock
I knew
for 100
something had
years.
happened because you weren't here.
And I just rolled in at 10 o'clock and it was meeting half over and I thought, well,
You're here, better late than never.
Better late than never.
Thank you for all you do for nutrition in our community.
thank you all.
Absolutely.
Okay, I've got 3.
Okay, just in
All
case.
right.
But yes, we talked about Gathering Place and how important it is that you all deliver meals to people in our county that might not receive meals otherwise. And so it's very important
Sure.
that they get those nutritional meals, and you're a big part of that.
And we appreciate the support. And one thing that we don't think about is for a lot of the people that we serve, we're the only people that they see.
Yeah.
They've got no family, they've got no friends, they've got no help, they can't drive, they're truly homebound. So when they get that just couple minutes of, one-on-one interaction with somebody, makes a world of difference. So
Yes.
we make differences in different ways before we even realize we're doing it sometimes, and you all do that all the time in this county. Very much appreciate it.
Thank you,
Thank
Ben.
you.
Thank you for what you do
All right. Yeah,
and the
thank
people
you.
that you serve.
I am sorry for the time, Nick.
Hey, better
Glad
late,
you
better
made
late
it.
than never.
But if that's the worst thing that happens to me today, I'll take it.
That's right.
Thanks for coming, appreciate it. All right, next up, we have Altogether Recovery Executive Director, Nick Rhodus. Welcome.
Hello, thank you. Good morning, folks.
Morning.
So I actually received a promotion since the last time we talked.
Oh, you did?
Now the CEO of Altogether Recovery.
Congratulations.
My name is Nick Rhodus. I'm a man in long-term recovery. I'm the CEO of that organization, and I'm a citizen of Boyle County. I've lived here my entire life. My family moved over here from Guerrant County when I was about 3, and I grew up on Linda Avenue over in Dexter's Court. Y'all are familiar with the area. I think that it's kind of poetic that a number of the different things that I'm going to be discussing have already been represented here this morning by the various people that have spoke to the court, including the young man that gave the Pledge of Allegiance, the Lieutenant Colonel that talked about the security issues and building up resilience in our infrastructure, and of course the Volunteers of America discussing substance use disorder and the havoc that it plays on our communities. So I came here to talk to you all about a couple different things. One is to describe a problem, the other is to propose a solution, and then finally to extend an invitation. So the problem that I want to discuss is substance use disorder. And you've heard quite a bit about that this morning already, but I'm sure that maybe some of you are aware that SAMHSA reports that nearly 50 million Americans are diagnosed with it in 2023, with them being 12 and up. So it starts early, and that was my experience, right? So the first time I used a substance, it came out of my daddy's ashtray, and eventually he was passing me Lortabs across the table because that was his idea of fun. And when you're a child, that's the world to you, right? And that was the world to me, and that's what I understood about things until I became a man and realized that not everybody grows up that way. And so it is my story and stories similar to mine that were the inspiration behind this project we call the Youth Enrichment Scholarship. And what we're doing is we are integrating a psychosocial educational modality along with meaningful activities in the community and removing financial barriers for at-risk children, ages 11 to 17. And of course we define at-risk with a pretty wide net. It would be anybody that's living at or near or below the poverty line, any justice-involved children, kids with parents that have substance use disorder, or if they've been displaced for one reason or another and are living with in the foster system or with other family members. We started this project in August of last year, and we received a grant for $100,000 from the Foundation for a Healthy Kentucky, and we managed to provide services to over 100 kids between Boyle, Garrett, Mercer, and Lincoln counties, with most of them coming from right here. So we partner with some community members, local businesses, ROC Martial Arts Academy. So they're providing martial art instruction for the children to sign up for it. The Backstop, it's a sporting complex out in Junction City that's being led by Jeff Bragg. Kurt Singer's Archery, Sunrise Outfitters. We've been teaching the kids archery. We bought the bows, the arrows, the targets, all the things. And Jessica is the instructor. And then finally, we've utilized West T Hill Community Theater for our theater project. So what I'm hoping that we can accomplish, it's very similar to what the VOA was talking about, right? If we got 50 million people that are diagnosed with substance use disorder, how many are there that we don't know about? Half as many? Just as many? So can we say that between 75 and 100 million people in the country are choosing substances? That is a huge swath of our population. And what does it impact? I'm sure that each of you in attendance here have been impacted by it in some form or fashion. It impacts all of our agencies, all of our businesses, all of our institutions, from the schools to the hospital to the justice system to the workforce development, you name it. It's a cancer. We got to do something about it. So my suggestion is a two-pronged attack. One is prevention, and we can do that with the Youth Enrichment Scholarship. So we deploy community members that are maybe operating on the fringes of the problem, but we bring them into the problem so that they can show these kids that there's more to life than what's not happening or is happening inside the home. So I was reminded of the hope and the possibility of such a program just by watching the young man come and say, I'm to give the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm 40 years old, and this is the first time I've been in this room. All right? So when I was a kid, I imagined how it might make me feel to be able to come in here and do something like that with local leaders. It's going to increase his confidence, it's going to give him value, it's going to give him purpose, and those are the types of things that stave off substance use disorder. So what we're hoping to accomplish is by to make resilient the children and to give them value, confidence in themselves so that when they navigate those difficult times in middle and high school, they'll make good decisions. What we need from you guys is, potentially funding, but the other thing is awareness, right? We just want to let people know that we're doing this thing and we're doing it here. And we're using local people to be a model, an example to what the rest of the country could possibly do. The second attempt, or the second prong of the attack, I should say, is treatment itself. And so now Danville has a residential treatment facility for men. That's us. We also have an intensive outpatient Heal Together Counseling Center. It's up there behind the new car wash. And we also have 19 units that we are planning to use for recovery housing so that we can provide a full continuum, much like the lady from VOA was talking about. Because what's happening now a lot of times is that you get folks that want to provide services for the first 90 days or so, but without the carry through to the year and without job development and stable housing, folks end up relapsing.
Could we back up a minute? Because you got my
Absolutely.
attention when you said 19 units. Are those empty units that are somehow financed, that are available right now? Because we're constantly looking in a relationship similar to what you're already talking about. I have no concept of what those are and where they are. I mean,
Sure.
I understand where they are, but
So
that's a surprise.
we're located on Nakama Street, so it's kind of like right behind the bowling alley over in Indian Hills. And if you're familiar with that area, you got Nakamas and you got Shawnee, and there's the apartments right there. There's a nice little dip, a little hill dip right there on the corner. Yeah, that's all that is ours, Better Life Properties.
And they're empty and available?
They are not empty. When they were purchased, there were people that were already living there. Some of them are still living there. Some of them have since moved on, and those have been converted into intensive outpatient housing and recovery housing that are GAIR certified.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Tom, we discussed this at length when they purchased the homes, when Mark came in. And we discussed this because it's in my district. So yeah, we've just, that whole, there's a bunch of townhomes right behind the bowling alley and the shopping center there that they purchased.
Great.
Okay.
So what we're hoping to accomplish, like I said, is very much like what the lady from the VOA was talking about, creating a continuum of care that churns out results. That would be individuals that are not only sober, but are contributing both culturally and fiscally to our community. And I think that if we have that long-term continuum, that we'll see success, whereas if we continue to invest in the short-term bits, you're going to see people churn and churn and churn until they die.
Yeah.
And that's the sad thing that happens. I've seen it a lot.
How many kids do you have enrolled now?
So I just finished up on it. We have 125.
Okay.
125. Now those are folks that have gone through and completed it, right? With some of them still being involved, like the baseball program we started at the backstop is fairly new, so there's children up there that are still in the midst of programming, and there's folks at ROC that are still in the midst of programming. But we're looking to expand, to do some different things. We talked about doing volleyball at the community center. We've talked about paintball. We've talked about a number of different things, but we want to diversify so to attract a number of different folks to it.
Okay, and so you said you've received some grants for funding?
We did.
And then what other funding sources do you have?
So we did ask the city.
Okay.
We did ask the city, and we have private donations, and then we do fundraising ourselves.
Okay.
So last year we did a Kit for a Cause that we did at ROC Martial Arts Academy. We managed to raise about $10,000 with that. So we plan to do that annually, and most of the funding goes directly to the program.
Is there a specific amount you're requesting from the court, or?
Well, honestly, I didn't come to ask for a specific amount.
Okay.
I think that I'd have to get a sense of, I guess, what's available and the sort of programming that we would like to offer. But we did ask the city for 20,000.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Well, like I told the last ones, it's budget season, so.
Well, we can ask you for 20,000 as well.
Okay.
Do we have is there like a form that I need to fill out for that?
We can do that, or we can just put it as part of a budget request, and then we can vote on it at that time. Yeah.
Any other questions? No. Well, thanks for letting me share. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks for being here. Appreciate
Thanks for
it.
what you're doing.
Yeah. Have a great day.
Go have a good one.
Thank you. Okay, next is our senior living specialist, Andrea James, with Next Step Senior Living. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Everybody adjusted to the time change?
No.
I asked if you would take one of these days and pass the council.
I will like it, but.
Yeah, eventually.
I will like it, but.
By June, I'll like it.
So my coffee pot is set on one time, my car is set on another time. So I'm kind of with Ben today. I'm just all over the place. Well, thank you for allowing me to come in today, and
Sure.
thank you, Ms. Bottoms, for setting this up for me. So I'm kind of coming at you guys with a different aspect today. It seems like everybody else was talking more about the children. I want to talk to you about our seniors. Anybody ever been to their grandma's nursing home? In what you consider grandma's nursing home? Well, that's kind of changing as we grow, I guess you might say. My mom was a nurse, and I'm 50, and so when I was in middle school, I would go get on the bus, and that's where I would go to the nursing home, and that's what I learned. That's what I learned. So our care in senior facilities is not quite like it was years ago. However, there are some facilities that just don't quite meet the guidelines that you and I would like to have our families in. My background is I was an ombudsman volunteer, social service director, admissions. So I've kind of done activities was my favorite job. We got to talk a little bit the other day over at Morning Point. So I've been at Walker's Trail for, I guess I was there about 3 years. And there was something bothering me. I was a sales director, I was a top producer, I was bringing in these great numbers, we were having tons of admissions, but something bothered me. I was placing someone's family where my quota needed them to be, not where that family needed to be in our community. So back in October, I stepped away from the corporate world and decided that next steps was what was needed in our community. So what I do now is I am a senior living advocate. So if you were to call me, I am going to talk to you about all options available in senior living. My services are free to everyone in the community. So, and everyone will say, well, how exactly does that happen? Well, to the facilities, I'm a referral source. So that's how I'm paid. But to the families, we're completely free. So the guidelines there is I work assisted living facilities, but I get a ton of Medicaid calls. And if we could have anything more in this community, it would be more Medicaid beds. And I know that you guys probably can't help with that, but the Medicaid beds are so needed in this area, well, in every area. So I work mainly with assisted livings, like our McDowell Place. We just moved a family in there. Morning Point, Walker's Trail, and then Carrie Wasdell and their new assisted living over in Argyle, Parkview, which she has done a lot with. So I work here in Boyle County, but we've kind of, since we've met, kind of spread out into central Kentucky. So if you were to call me, I would take you and your family, we would do tours. We're going to walk through, we're going to see, what does it smell like when you walk in? Did everyone greet you? And when I'm talking about everyone, I mean everyone from the administrator, housekeeping, dietary, because this is where your loved one is going to live. So I'm not just serving as a referral source, I am this family's advocate. So when you call a facility, we're trained as a sales director to call you 7 times in a row, 7 days, and then every other day, and then we're going to email you, and then we're going to drop off lunch. So my job is to take that stress away from you and be the point of contact for all of these facilities. So I'm not asking for anything today, I'm just sharing. So if we did need monies, it would be toward our Medicaid beds and then for our friends with dementia. We have some amazing memory care facilities in our community. But honestly, we don't have enough programming, I don't think, in any community to talk about our friends with dementia. There's just not how do you say that? People are almost scared of people that have Alzheimer's, and they kind of back away and don't know how to communicate. So if you have someone in your community and they have dementia, talk to them, love on them. Don't make them feel like they're, an outcast, because at times that memory does come back, and we want them to feel just as welcome as any of us sitting here. So today, my goal was just to tell you about next steps. If you have someone, please send them my way, and I will.
Or if you want to go yourself.
Or if you want to go yourself. Absolutely. Assisted living is not bad. When you actually look at, we have independent living in our community all the way up to memory care. And some of these independent prices are only, if you, at McDowell Place, they start around, I think, about $2,400. But if you look at all your care, all of everything, all your food, your housekeeping, your tax, everything is included. So I did sign myself up. So
This is a good room to be prospecting in.
I beg your pardon.
some are taking offense to that. Does anyone have any questions? I know you guys want to get on with your day.
Well, Andrea, thank you for coming. And she just wanted to come and share the information because you may know someone that needs this type of person to help them to get into a nice facility and to meet the needs of what they specifically need. So no better way to share than word of mouth. So
I would greatly appreciate it. And I'll take you to the hub, buy you a coffee, or just love, or I think 7 Brew is coming, and so. But guys, please, if I can help anyone, even if they do have Medicaid, there's some folks in our community that's opened new programs that's helping with Medicaid applications. Mandy was here with me, but she had to step out, so she helps. We kind of wanted to create the trifecta in Boyle County that we helped everyone.
Yeah.
So if I can help, please give me a call, and you guys have a great day.
Thank you so much. We
Thank you.
appreciate it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
Really awesome.
Okay, County Clerk.
Thank you all again.
Yeah, thank you all so much. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Okay, Steve, could you check on Casey, please? Magistrate Sleeper.
Good to see you.
Big time.
There's over 9,000 senior citizens in Boyle County. The gathering place served 5,000 meals on wheels last year. And what he said about some of these people, that's the only contact they ever have. It's once a day on a meal delivery. But that was numbers.
I was watching, I thought I had one more.
Morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good.
Good. We got a amended budget is first, is that right?
Yes. I'll present the amended budget for the year 2025. The new budget receipts amounts is $15,189. Sorry, $15,189,197. The new budget disbursements amount is $14,996,970. With that, with budgeted excess fees, this year we turned over $192,227.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I have the cashier's check.
Okay, now you need us to.
You can either sign this right now and I
Okay.
can go record it. Or
So we need a motion to approve the amended budget.
So moved.
Magistrate Gay, is there a second? Magistrate Bodner, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Then we have okay, that was the amendment. That was all, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was, I did it all.
That we have to
I'm sorry.
approve. Okay. All right, quarterly report we have.
Yes. And if you want, I can take that and get it recorded and just bring it to you.
Sure, that'd be great. Okay, and then we have the excess fees. Thank you so much.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
All right. See you next time.
Thank you.
All right. All righty. Annual salary magistrates. Shannon, are you gonna speak about this or? Okay. Well, this is the only year, election year is the only year that magistrates can increase their salaries. And so this is the time of year that we need to do that because we are in budget season again.
Right, I'll address it.
Okay, Finance Committee
That's
person.
right, to a point. So we talked a little bit about this in our budget workshop yesterday as we obviously were going through the initial run at every area's budget.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that we have talked about in the past is the, first of all, the amount of time and work. You know, none of us get in this for the money. I don't think any of us is run based on pay, but I think we all care deeply about our community and want to see our community better.
Mm-hmm.
We want, all of us want to leave it better than we found it, kind of approach. I think that's all of our motivation. But it is a big time commitment and a sacrifice, and you know, I've always felt that in order to hopefully be able to attract younger people into this role, there has to be a certain level of kind of, I guess, fair compensation for the commitment that's involved. And we looked at it a little bit. We looked at it more yesterday, and really one of the things we talked about yesterday was the average magistrate baseline compensation in our state is $23,000 in annual pay. Boyle County's baseline compensation level is $11,000 a year in annual pay. And you can see that's a pretty significant gap.
We're severely below the state average.
Right, and for a county and community that I think we all agree is a strong community
Yes.
to live and work in, and not only, I think we've all contributed to that, I want to say, but we have a lot of people before us that have contributed to that as well. So, one of the numbers that we threw out yesterday that I'd like to see us consider is increasing the magistrate baseline compensation in the amount of $5,000.
Judge.
Which would bring it to a $16,000 baseline compensation package.
Okay.
May I speak? I'm actually going to make the motion as not only the senior citizen of the senior citizens on this group, but the one who has announced my retirement. So to the public, this will have zero impact on me. Knowing the dedication of this court and realizing that you go back probably a couple of decades to find when that $11,000 had been raised from whatever the figure was before that. I'm going to make the motion that we do discuss increasing by $5,000 the base compensation for magistrates to this court.
Okay, you want to make the motion to discuss it, or you want to make the motion to do it?
I want to make the motion to do it.
To do it, okay.
Thank you for that clarification.
All right. We have a motion by Magistrate Ellis. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Magistrate Gay? Okay, is there any discussion?
May I continue?
Sure.
Realizing beyond the public knowledge of what we do, because I still run into constituents who ask me questions. What exactly is a magistrate? What is done by magistrates? Just as recently as a couple of days ago, and then last night or this morning, I acted on it. In Magistrate Cullen's district, there is a public meeting coming up on the new road that the DOT would put in that section of the county. We desperately want folks to be aware of these things. We want them to either turn out or before the fact do something to communicate not only to this court but to city government, because there's always an impact there, and in particular the state, so that we're operating with knowledge that we can't gather as part-time employees. So what I did is just go ahead and jump onto that Facebook post and say what I'm saying right now. We need for you to be aware. We need for you to come. Please don't come after the fact when it's already been committed on any given project. That makes more work for everybody that I'm looking at in this room, and I mean everybody. So I am probably as far right in terms of spending a dollar of taxpayer money as anybody in this room, and yet realizing the decades in between increases, I respectfully speak to my colleagues who are going to remain, any new ones who come, that it's well deserved that they would have a base of 16,000, whatever the other numbers around it might be, as opposed to the 11 that we have at this point. Thank you, Judge.
Yes, sir. Any other comments? Well, I can honestly say this is one of the hardest working courts that I have had the pleasure to serve with. And, I've been around the courthouse. I've been on fiscal courts as the fiscal court clerk, what Katina's doing. And not to say that, the past courts didn't do anything, they did. But working with you all personally, I can honestly say that you all are very hardworking magistrates. And if you took the time that you all commit to your jobs, and multiplied that out or divided that out by your pay, it doesn't account for very much for the jobs that you all do. So I think it's well deserved. I support the increase, and
Thank you.
I think that's what we should do. Yeah.
Call the question?
Call for questions.
Well, Tom,
Okay?
can I, just one quick point, I think when
Lindsay's
we all
delayed.
joined the board, it was about 8,000, and it's only gone up based on, compensation, based on,
Cost of living.
cost of living adjustments, thank you. And so, it's, in the 7 years, it's made it up to 11,000, and it's actually under 11,000. But, you divide that out among 52 weeks, you're talking about less than $200 a week is what's paid. And like all of us, I barely cover our cell phone bill, which is constantly ringing, texting, so, anyway.
Are you asking for an amendment upward?
I think if what Jamie said, you're trying to attract people, I think 16,000 is not going to do it, but we can tackle that later, another 4 years and see how it works.
Okay.
It's a start.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a start.
Yeah, and it's, and to Magistrate Cullen's point, when your base pay is where this one has been, it takes a long time for a 3% increase to add up to anything.
Right. Right.
It doesn't multiply real quick.
Right.
When it's at, at 8,000 or 9,000 or whatever the base was when we started, it takes a lot of years for that to multiply. And so, and again, as I said before, we're not doing it for the money, but I do think it would be an important step in the right direction.
Sure. I know I'm out of order, Magistrate Ellis. You called for questions.
Yeah,
that's fine.
All right. All those in favor of the motion to increase the magistrate salary to a $5,000 increase to a $16,000 baseline salary, signify by saying aye.
Aye. On a date in the new...
It'll go into the next budget year.
Okay, as long as they understand.
July 1.
The public understands.
Well, it would go into, it would have to take effect in January.
January of 27?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, effective January 27.
With the next court. Once the next court is sworn in.
That is right, yeah.
It would go into place
right.
then.
Yeah, thank you. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, we're ready for magistrate reports. And Magistrate Gay, we'll start with you.
Yes, I would like to give sorry if I do the EMS committee report, Magistrate Cullen, or do you want to do that?
No, have at it, thank you.
The EMS committee met this morning, and Magistrate Cullen joined us in combination phone and Zoom. So he was with us this morning as well in attendance, and Mark gave the crisis team update, and he had 32, this is all for February, he had 32 individuals he worked with, and unfortunately in February we had 8 suicide ideation attempts, and unfortunately we did have 1 suicide fatality in February. And then Terry gave the update on community outreach, and he had 14 substance use disorder people he worked with, 3 overdose cases, and fortunately we did not have any overdose related deaths in that month, and 4 referrals to treatment for substance use disorder. And he commented on the fact that still working closely, with people that are needing housing, and working and getting a lot of feedback and referrals in a lot of ways from our local hotels that we work closely with for housing. And February, obviously, cold month that had a lot of things going on related to ice issues. And then Mo gave the education update, and Brianna Miller has completed her training We have 2 MTs on orientation and 1 medic starting soon. Tim Bryant gave his updates about the fact that our fleet is actually in good shape at this point in time. And we talked about the fact that of the chase vehicles, that, as Mike said, we don't need any. We're in good shape going into next budget year, you know, with the exception of the other unit that we're getting on order in that budget year. We did have the question, he thinks one of the chase vehicles may not arrive until, just because of timing, into next fiscal year, so we may have to look at that within the budget. It's budgeted for this year, but it may actually carry into next year. So
Fiscal year, okay.
Yeah, as far as the arrival time. And then we talked more about the issues with the power lifts that they use and how we're having problems with those, and we talked about it in the budget process yesterday, so we addressed that again. And then there was the discussion about the staffing, and instead of the 12-hour shifts, which we've been doing, moving to a 24 on, 72 off staffing concept, and there seems to be a lot of support within the department to make that change, and the committee agrees that that's worth trying, at least for a period of time, and seeing if it works like they think it will. And as far as morale and sleep patterns and work patterns, and you know, there's that concern that 24 hours on puts you at a fatigue point in that 20th to 24th hour for sure, and how that all is going to work out. But they indicated there is a system to build in rest and other things within that 24-hour period. And the runs for February were 561, which is obviously a little bit less, but still a very busy month for a 28-day month. So that still is.
But had them 2 or 3 extra days, it'd have been the same.
Yeah, it gotten up into the 600s again. So they stayed very busy in February, but it looks a little less in a 28-day month. So I'll make a motion that we approve the EMS committee meeting report from this morning.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's like 4 of us.
On delay.
I was waiting, we were waiting
I was
for
pointing at him.
I was too, I was like.
All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries.
And then I just would like to ask, and I have a feeling others will say the same thing, but that we adjourn in memory of Michael Mingy. He was just such a, you know, just, he lived life to the fullest, and such a, I guess I kind of considered him an old soul. He was somebody that definitely crossed generations, and I mean, I had many long conversations with Michael just about politics and life, and he just always had a smile and a hug for anybody he ever met. And that'll be greatly missed. And just as a, you know, and I know everybody has a story about Michael, but Ricky was coming out of Walmart, and I think had stuff blowing everywhere, and he didn't know who she was. You know, he'd seen me a lot, but didn't really know who she was, and basically came to her rescue in the parking lot. And so from that point on, she could never remember his name, but she would always, I would tell her a story about Michael, just in some other event, and she would say, "Who are you talking about?" And I would always just say, "You know, it's that guy that's everywhere." And she would, "Oh, yeah. Because that's who he was. He was that guy that was everywhere. no matter what was going on, Michael Mingy was there, and so he's going to be greatly missed.
He is. Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
That's all.
Magistrate Sleeper.
All right, we went and had a Animal Control Committee meeting on March 3rd. Our regular meeting wasn't scheduled till later this month, but with the situation of having an acting interim director, we felt it was important to kind of get together and go over some things.
Sure.
On both the acting director's viewpoint and mine. So we met together, and the Animal Control Department is actively scheduling a lot of numerous events and promotions in the community, which are, one notable example is that through March 18th, if you take an unopened package of dog food to Just Love, the new coffee shop that's opened, you'll get 25% off your order. So done that, and it's very worthwhile. And that donation will go to the mobile food pantry, which supplies food for folks that need assistance in that area, providing pet food. And also, if you order the confetti cake frappe, you'll get they'll donate $1 towards the mobile pantry as well. So I've done both. It's a good frappe. So, and then they also presented me with some drafts of a revised cat policy, a TNVR policy, and an animal behavioral assessment, and an animal control firearm policy and procedure. And they're in the process of developing these. They did give me drafts, but they weren't really ready yet. They've got some more tweaking they want to do. But once those are ready, we'll get them presented, and so we can act on them as a court, review them, and see if it's something we want to implement and approve. So that's it for that. Oh, I guess do I need to make a motion?
That's your motion to approve?
Yeah, I make a motion to approve the report.
Is there a second?
Mary, if you'll sign it.
Second.
Master Harmon? All right.
And then one other thing I have is...
Let's take a vote.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries.
I assumed it'd be approved.
You're right.
Okay. Second thing, the last thing I have is met with the Homeless Coalition, and I try to serve as a local government liaison with them now. And but some good things happening. There's continuing to make progress in the new ground, transitional housing, tiny home village. There's a lot of numerous steps, legal-wise and other things that are taking place, so it's taking time, but they're getting closer to the goal. Also learned that 5 Star here in town provides frozen food to one of the food insecurity programs in our community. And also I was made aware of a agency, organization, whatever you call it, called the Food Donation Connection, and they actually work with restaurants in our community to provide food to 501c3s that are in need of it. So that's really cool. And I guess that's it.
Okay, thank you. Master Ellis.
Thank you, Judge. In our budget meeting yesterday, Jailer Wolford, and above and beyond what I think any of the other 70-plus jailers have accomplished, he compiled data back from 2018 to 2025, and where the state would very much enjoy, state corrections would very much enjoy telling the public that it has saved us over that period of time $208 million. The fact of it is, at $35 on average for a day in our jail and the other 70-plus jails, we're subsidizing that with Boyle County citizens' tax dollars. With the group that was here today and the judge's agreement after reading my text, I've sent that to the Speaker Pro Tem, several other, our legislative delegation of Senator Bledsoe and Representative Elliott, and several others that I've gotten to know through the time I've been on the court, plus some judges and magistrates who are extremely active and have jails in their district, and getting good feedback on that. It's just reached a crisis state for us subsidizing the state's inmates when we house them. So prayerfully, House Bill 557 will be acted upon. Jason, since you weren't with us, there's a likelihood that the Supreme Court of Kentucky will not hear the case, which works in our favor, and that's when you try to figure out how we'll be reimbursed for years past of shortfalls that our county taxpayers have been paying. So hopefully something will come from that. Roads, we have to be more than concerned because potholes that are already being filled in my district are significant, and I'm sure that Public Works has been in yours as well. And yet, we're going to be hopeful to be part of as much as $60 million, which if you spread that over 120 counties, that is not walking around money. So we're going to have to be telling our constituents that we're doing our best with funds available, and we have hundreds of miles of state roads through Boyle County, which is not well understood by our constituents. And in my case, in my district, I was out last week with Brian Cowell, and we have some incredibly dangerous sections on state roads on 34 and on 37. I don't want to drive that in a windstorm driving rain, even during the daylight, but definitely after dark, because the gap down, excuse me, to the creek from literally the pavement, because there's no grassy area, is vertical and deeper than the ceiling of this roof. So if you went off night or day, school buses go there every day, by the way. So the judge and I have been in communication with District 7, and something's got to be done on those, including the fact, a message for my constituents out that way, it might be lane closure for one lane for a significant period of time. In a moment, my colleague, Magistrate Bodner, is going to speak to this, but my opinion about the burner and the issue of smoke is so well spoken in the past that I have grave concerns about it, that we need some assurances of what we can and cannot do. So I'll defer and become active on that here in just a couple of minutes after my comments. I've just noticed this morning at 9:02 we all received a message that there's a pipeline conference in Lexington May 16. In my parting shot of being gravely concerned about what we dodged 12 years ago when they were going to open up a very dangerous 85-year-old pipeline and put sludge that has been estimated to have 12 to 15 carcinogens in it. I'm going to be there to make sure that there is no discussion, or if there is, reported back to the court, because a year from now I will probably be writing letters to the editor again if that ever comes up. And Judge, along with my dear friend and the loss of my dear friend Michael Mingy, we have suffered our first Kentucky resident U.S. Army soldier, Sergeant Benjamin Pennington's death just the last couple of days, and if we might also add him to our adjournment, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Benjamin Pennington.
Sergeant Benjamin Pennington.
Hardin County.
Hardin County. And if we might, just send a note over to the judge over there that I think he'd appreciate that too.
Okay.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Commissioner Bodner?
I want to make a motion that we have a permit, a burn permit for the Fred Kane property in process, as well as the Alum Springs process, Alum Springs site. because I know we're in the process of doing Alum Springs, but I want to make sure we have a burn permit process started.
Over the judge's signature.
Okay, I don't know that I mean, that's something that Angie does automatically, so I don't know that we need
We
it.
need to formalize that, Judge, and I'll second that motion. We absolutely need to know that can be burned, it can be moved into a residential area. And I will respectfully put on record that I think the state will deny it, which all the more complicates the circumstances that we have with that burner.
Well, what my thinking is, I think it could pass, so I want the permit received, because I think we'll have a better staging area, so we'll have, I think we can make it a better site than what we're doing now. What we have now is in a little tiny community with all the smoke and with all the dirt, and the debris has been there forever, and so it's going to make more smoke. I think if we stage it, but I want to make sure that we have the permit for the new site. I want to make sure. Angie said that she hadn't started that, so I wanted to make sure she had that process started so we can move. Do you see what I mean?
Okay, so you...
Two questions. I know you got a first and a second, but just for clarification, are you talking about on the actual Fred King property, or are you talking about the railroad property where we've discussed it with the city just over where we're going to build that road?
It's the EDA property.
The EDA property is where the second location had been
I'll make an
discussed, not
amendment.
Fred King.
Yes, I'm sorry. That should have been said more clearly.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I
I'll amend that.
And I second the amendment.
Good clarification on that. And two, has this been brought up to the solid waste committee?
No.
For them to discuss, because that's kind of how this should go. It should go through the committee discusses it with the director, and then it gets brought to the court. So I don't know, have you had a discussion with the committee about that? Because that's the respectful thing to do. So
I respectfully reply to that by saying this is such a serious issue already in Junction City, and I firmly believe with the flow of smoke that will come, and it will come because we will never have totally dry wood. I respectfully submit that this transcends the committee process and needs to happen. And it's all it is formalizing that yes, they will permit if we move that from Junction. And if we cannot move it from Junction, we have all the more serious a problem.
And the clarification, now, it's not a residential area back there.
Yeah.
Oh, but it is. I've driven all back in there, and you're not an eighth of a mile from houses.
On the railroad property?
I haven't been on the railroad property. Just do a GPS and take a look at the surrounding area, and you'll find homes within a quarter mile.
And I think, I'll interrupt just a minute. I think Tom and I are maybe on different ideas. My idea was, yesterday I talked with Angie, and I said, we're going to move that, and have we gotten that permit process started, because we can't move it till we've got that process. And so my purpose is to make sure we're getting the permit so that we can move it, and and stage it to where, like Magistrate Cullen mentioned, staging it at Alum Springs. Well, we'll have better staging at a new area where we don't have a year or two of old debris rotting and all the dirt. If we can stage it there, and if it burns quickly, I've talked to a lot of contractors who deal with incinerators or who have been around incinerators, and they say the high heat burning and the double burning is what causes the less smoke. Well, this area is not within the range of 20 homes that it is right now. So I think it can be worked out, but we want that permit started. We want to make sure we get that permit started and get the permission we need.
Once that permit is in place, we know, and a lot of planning that I'm sure you're mentioning there can take place. And planning and preparation is going to be vital. As Magistrate Cullen had stated in our last meeting, we most likely will find or need to lay down pretty expensive concrete to keep the wood off of the ground.
Okay, so you want to make a motion to authorize Angie to apply for a burn permit for the EDA project?
To require is my motion.
Yeah.
Well, that, she's gonna do that anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, she
And
has to. We can't move it there until we have a permit.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I know there's the process of getting the road built right now. And I don't know, I'm trying to figure out if we can kind of get that road, and it's gonna be gravel for right now, but that road taken care of so we can kind of get out there and plot exactly where we think it should be.
Right.
I think that's, I really, and Paul, I don't disagree with you that it should be out there, because I think I've said that several times. I think it's kind of more of a centralized location for, you know, like right now we've put it over at the, the Lebanon Road is where a lot of the brush went to, you know, because that's where we were chipping it or whatever. So I don't disagree that it should come off Allen Springs. You know, we've all, I think, said temporarily it's going to go out there, especially with all of the bike park material coming down, and we'll need to burn that and hopefully keep it as dry as possible so that way the smoke isn't there.
Right.
But I think we kind of need to plot out exactly where it should be, which is something that we do with the city. So do you want to maybe do something where we have some sort of meeting where we go out there and kind of figure out where it should go?
I'll rescind.
And then that would give her the opportunity to put the permit in?
I'll rescind my motion with the understanding that yesterday I asked, had that process been put in place? I just want to make it public that I want that process to where we can move it and we have the permit. I don't want it being said, well, we'd move it, but we haven't started that, and that'll be 6 more months. So I'll just take that away since we all know, and Tom, I don't know how you feel about that. But
As long as you're saying that we still file now within a day or two to ask for the permit so that we know whether or not we will be granted the permit.
But you can't, Tom, you can't put a permit in for a place you don't know the location. You need to actually have a location.
They have to
plotted
come out and
where it's
approve the
permitted. So
location.
EDA has a piece of property,
Air
and
quality,
EDA
or just-
would be
No,
the piece
the
of
state.
property,
The state
and you
comes.
don't have
They
to
have-
have it pinpointed to the center of that property.
EPA, so the EPA approved.
Well, I'm not exactly which, it's whatever branch. I mean,
Okay, one branch has to come out and say it can.
They have to approve the location. Once the location's approved, then Angie can apply for the
So
permit.
who approved Alum Springs? That's who I'd like to talk to.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and.
I'd like to
because I
have
don't-
that name if you could find it. Just who approved it.
Well, she sent it to you all in the, or I did in that email.
Okay.
That-
I'll
In that
still have
email,
it.
that's who approved it, because that's, they said, this is the permit. So whoever's name is on that, and I don't remember the name.
That's good. Okay.
But that's who has to be contacted.
I just want to make sure we're serious about moving it and that we do as much as we can to forward that, you know.
Yeah, let me just address it. Barry and I are on the solid waste committee. We'll be glad to continue to follow through on this. I do think it's important though to recognize that, you know, and as we've said, we want to make sure that we have all the permitting in place and that the equipment is working like it's supposed to work and being operated like it's supposed to be operated. I've said over and over again that I want to bring the people in, and Angie is working to get some additional equipment that will help the process operate better. That's our belief, and that's what we need to be assured of. But it is going to be important that we do, you know, I don't want to give any false hope. We are going to need to burn the material that is there, one way or another. I mean, we can have a big bonfire, or we can burn it in the air curtain. because there's no good way or no cost-effective way to move what already is there to another location. So we do need to burn what is there, and then we can obviously start already have the process started, but have a place to then relocate. As Magistrate Cullen's saying, it's a better location for, most of the debris comes from the city of Danville,
Right.
which is in Boyle County.
Right.
Comes from the city of Danville, and it would be a lot more convenient for citizens of Danville to take it to the property we're referring to and have it disposed of appropriately, as opposed to driving it all the way down to Alum Springs and dropping it all along the road while you get there.
Yeah.
So that all makes a lot of sense, but I don't want to pretend like we're not still going to need to have some burning, which, and I do think it's important to point out, though, that there are plenty of people that burn a lot of wood in their homes there that produces a lot of smoke in Alum Springs. So I don't think and other things that get burned in Alum Springs. So I don't think we need to falsely pretend like people aren't burning stuff in Alum Springs.
I want to ask a question, then I've got a comment. How many acres is the EDA property?
With 77.
Okay, all right. Then it is easy to find out if the state would allow, permit, that's the very word, look at the definition of the word, whether or not they would allow the burner to be on any area of 87 acres. With that in mind, I cannot imagine the logic of not finding out if it would be approved.
Nobody has said we're not going to find out.
I'm now hearing
Nobody has said
resistance.
that.
I'm now hearing.
We're not resistant.
No.
Then let's vote on the motion.
Well,
She rescinded the
mine,
motion.
And I asked you, did you rescind yours? I'm going to rescind
I have
mine.
not.
So,
Well, she rescinded her motion.
so how do we handle that?
Well, you don't have a second if there's no
Okay.
motion.
Okay, there we go. Here's the thing, I have two comments, Judge, if it's all right.
Yes.
One, we met with the bike trail committee, and they said we had thought it'd be a lot longer term to get that road done. Well, it's not. He said it probably, I guess,
Midsummer.
yeah, midsummer, 3 months. And the committee said, well, I said, we've got a lot of people not wanting the burning because it causes so many health issues. And they said, well, can't we burn the big pieces and just leave the other to rot? Just let it go back to the earth. It makes really beautiful black dirt because I've seen them over there turning it over. So just get the big stuff, and once we start hauling it over, so that made sense to me somehow, because we do have huge big pieces in there. Get rid of that. And then when you don't have to move anything, you start a new process where you have a better situation to double burning, so you do not have all this smoke that we have with all the dirt. And then, let's see, one other comment. It's a matter of just making sure we're doing the steps as quickly and not dragging our feet. That's the whole thing I want to make sure, that we're not dragging our feet trying, because it is a health issue to several of my constituents. So that's what I want to make sure.
Yep.
And on behalf of, and I don't want to speak for Barry, but on behalf of myself as a member of the solid waste, I'm all in favor of us proceeding ahead with getting the appropriate permitting and continue to work to find a different location for the burner.
Well, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Just to kind of make sure that per Paula's request, we are moving forward with something. Can we set up a meeting with this, Josh from the city of Danville and Earl and the EDA, within the next 2 weeks before the next court session, about where we feel this new location at the EDA property would work best?
I totally support you on that.
Yeah, because Tom, while I agree that the permit needs to happen, but they're going to come back and say, okay, where on this property are you planning
they're
this?
going with the exact
And I do
location.
think that if they permitted the spot in Alum Springs, which does have residences a lot closer than what's out at the EDA property, I don't have as much concern about it going out there and not being permitted. But I think that we should take a field trip and go out there and like kind of nail down a spot that we think would be best for this to go. I think that's really the next step, but let's put some, teeth into it and say, let's have it, within the next week or a week and a half, go out there and just kind of like look at the space and agree with.
It's good with me.
I think that
when he goes out
is,
there. So that would be my 2 cents.
it's a wonderful recommendation, absolutely, because we went through the exact same thing on Dead Animal, and we went over to the distillery and the dead animal composting that was going above it in Frankfurt, and that had a dramatic impact on the fact that we did not go that route on dead animals. So we will
But we
find out a
also
good
took
deal.
a field trip to Somerset and looked at the air burner too before we
Got
it.
I will
So-
speak to what I realized at Somerset.
I do want to say I'm sorry for not going the right route through the committee. However, Miss Muncie was here yesterday, and I got to talk directly to her, so I should have gone through you guys, but I bypassed that step a little bit. Sorry about that. Sorry about that.
Okay.
No worries, I mean,
So,
manufacturer.
This is good,
Understand, so.
good to bring it up and get it straightened out.
in the next couple weeks, we will try to get everybody together and take a field trip.
Excellent.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay? Are you good with that?
I'm good with that.
Okay.
Excellent.
Okay.
Oh, and
Now, did you have anything else?
I just wanted to say, our last Junction Voices, we have changed our name to Junction, or we're in the process of changing Junction City Matters to Junction Voices.
Okay.
We had some people that wanted that change, and I said, that's great, yeah, I like it. We had a meeting on Monday, and Michael Mingy came to our first meeting.
Oh.
And I said, at the end, he sent me a text, said, very productive meeting. And I said, thank you for coming. And I did not know the next night that he would be gone. So he was very energetic. He helped us with our balloon festival. And he's always there with the hug. And I haven't known him maybe a year and a half, but I'd heard his name for a long time, and I finally got to meet him. So I'm really glad we're gonna mention him.
Yeah.
And when we adjourn. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Mr. Harmon.
On you.
Okay. Mr. Cullen.
Sorry, coming off mute. Thank you for mentioning the Connector Road meeting on the 31st. What it really is that, we've talked to the state about this before. City of Danville is pushing this connector road, and they can call it a connector road. It's a bypass is what it is. And just think of every other bypass that we have in this community and other communities. The idea that they want to dump traffic coming from 150 and south or 127 over onto Lexington Avenue is a disaster. And that's why in the past we've asked for other options. And that's what this meeting is about. They're supposed to come up with some other options to see where, we could put this connector road. Because going from Goes Pike straight up over East Main and then dropping it right off there by the water plant, you're talking semis, you're talking, lots and lots of cars coming through, is just a terrible idea. I mean, if that community was upset about the 5-star, gas station going right there and the traffic it was gonna cause, just wait till this connector bypass goes through. So we do need everybody to come out to that and to really look at it and see that it's a bad idea, because you're talking about, last time it was like between $35 and $40 million for 2 miles. It's gonna, cost has gone up, so it's gonna be even more expensive. I really hope, that we can come together as a court and talk about, instead of spending that much money on one road, we figured ways to improve several other roads that are already in existence to make them better, to alleviate the issue. So instead of concentrating all the traffic onto one road, we improve Goggin, we improve, 34 out my way that really needs to be improved, and utilize that money there instead of just this one road. So please come out on the 31st because it's imperative.
Magistrate Cullen, may I speak
understand.
in favor of what you're saying?
Yes, you can.
We're likely going to see ultimately eminent domain having to be declared to go through. How many properties would you guess, Magistrate?
I mean, depending on the option, it would be dozens.
So, that's even more than I thought, and I'm in total agreement that this needs to be taken seriously, slowly. All of us need to get our constituents out, because if it affects the east today, it could affect the west, north, or south tomorrow, being next year and the years after. And I've already looked at that map a year or two ago, knowing what was going on with respect to the distillery and others, and Magistrate Cullen and I talked about those. And am I correct that this relates directly to those discussions that we had well over a year ago, and the concerns with what it does with all those properties out there?
Well, yeah. I mean, the biggest thing to think about is, think about like 2168 coming right through East Main Street, right past Henson Pond, and then right out onto Lexington Avenue right there, before the car wash and before all those offices, and just gets dumped out right there. Tractor trailers, just, and you're gonna see an increased amount of traffic than what we already see there. And if you notice with 2168, the state actually owns more than just those 2 lanes. There's an option for it to be widened at some point. So they'll do the same thing with this, and then it'll be 2 lanes right now with several roundabouts. That they talked about a roundabout at East Main, right by Henson Pond. And the amounts can actually skyrocket once they find all the sinkholes that are all through that area as well. But I just cannot say we need to improve the roads we have instead of building new roads. So.
Thank you, Magistrate Cullen.
Hey, thank you all. And I've been in New York for 1 day and I already missed Anvil.
You look kind of fancy up there on that screen.
Yeah, thank you, but I'm far from that. So, anyway.
All right, thank you and safe travels. County Attorney.
Yes, got to go to Forkland this past weekend and attended the spaghetti pie auction. Really cool. I mean, it's amazing how the people that have at Forkland raising money to support their community center. It's just well run, I think. Had a good time, and made a couple pies also. And also,
I gave away a lot of expensive pie pieces.
One pie or cake went for $1,000. So
nice.
That was wild. Remind everybody, the Masonic Lodge on Smith Street has every first Saturday of the month has a fish fry, and I went to that this past week. It was really good. I mean, the Masonic Lodge raises money for many different charities. I think we should support that. And I was surprised I went there, and they also had fried shrimp. And,
It's delicious.
It was really, really, really good. So everyone should try to do that. I think this week, on Friday, actually the Catholic Church is having a fish fry starting at 5 p.m. So
thanks, Peter and Paul.
Peter and Paul for due to Lent. So I don't think they have it every week, but every other week or so. Other than that, looking forward to some warm weather. And although Thursday it's going to get cold again, but hopefully that's just that's short, and then it gets warm, gets back to warm again. So that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Okay, so just a reminder, the public information meeting on the proposed new road will be March 31st at Intercounty Energy from 6 to 8, and we just invite the public to come out to that and voice your opinions, concerns, or interest in what you think should or should not happen there. I also want to let everyone know that the Little Cherubs Children's Sale is going on this week, Friday and Saturday at Centenary Church. So come out and support that. The proceeds from that go to lots of different mission projects that they sponsor and support. So it's always a good time, and it'll be from 8 to
4, I believe.
4 on Friday. Or is it a little bit later on Friday? And then 8 to 4 on
Just come.
Saturday. Just come. Just come sometime between 8 and 4.
I think last year over $50,000 was to charities,
Yeah.
and I know it was
Yeah.
a record-breaking year, and we want to break that record again.
That's right.
For all the community interest that Centenary supports on that.
And that's one of the civic projects that I do every year. I've been doing that for several years. I go and work on Friday and Saturday there, and it's a good time. Good time. Good people out there. Also, I just want to say that this court works very well together, and we've had things come up where we don't always agree, but we agree to disagree. And I just want Magistrate Bodner to know that your concerns are not being overlooked. We are all in agreement with you. It just takes time to get things done and processes to work through, so just want you to know that from myself. All right, so we need a motion to adjourn in memory of Michael Mingy and Sergeant Benjamin Pennington.
So moved.
Magistrate Gay, is there a second?
Second.
Magistrate Sleeper. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. We're adjourned.